First of all, though, let's talk about Donald Trump and his first year. I was there today in the White House briefing room when he celebrated his achievements, but he was mainly asked about his next steps on Greenland. And this is what he said.
I think something's going to happen that's going to be very good for everybody. I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy. But we need it for security purposes. We need it for national security and even world security. It's very important. How about it?
He spoke for an hour and 45 minutes today, but it was this exchange that caught the eye of the world's press.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Caelan Dorr, White House Deputy Communications Director, joins me now. I'm delighted to say, Caelan, great to see you.
Well, it's great to see you.
So, when he says you'll have to wait and see, basically, with Greenland, what do we think he means? It was quite cryptic.
Well, I think on this issue in particular, there's one three-word phrase that I feel like I repeat to myself time after time after time this year, and that is trust in Trump. The man has got very good reasons for doing this. It makes sense both internationally and so on and so forth for national security reasons to go forth and handle this acquisition. And he's going to go do it. It's been 10 years now. We've been doing the same thing for 10 years. The president says he's going to do something. People say, oh my goodness, is he really going to do it? And then he does it, and the outrage machine lives on. And it's what kills me about this press conference today is a lot of people are talking about this Greenland issue, right? But the president went out there to hold mug shots up of pedophiles, sex offenders, terrorists, etc. that we're arresting in Minneapolis and Minnesota, and none of them are covering that. None of the media that were there in the room with you today have run with the ball on that one. And so that is what truly is so funny to me, is that I feel like a broken record. Every time we do something like this, whether it's tariffs, it shouldn't be groundbreaking that a guy says he's going to do something and does it, and the world seems to be falling apart. So
just for people who didn't see the press conference, because it was quite an unusual start to the briefing. Well, it was unusual because it was the president anyway. It wasn't Caroline Leavitt. That took a few of us slightly by surprise when it was announced just a few moments before. The logic behind that was what? Because it's been 1 year in office.
Yeah, he walked up to the podium and kind of threw his papers to the side.
Yeah.
But he had 365 accomplishments for 365 days in office, prepped, ready to go to read through. He had mugshots of those that we were arresting in Minnesota, because that is a very controversial issue at the moment. For some reason, it shouldn't be controversial that we want to lock up pedophiles and rapists and drug dealers and so on and so forth. And I think he took matters into his own hands today and wanted to drive the news. I think he's done it. I don't know if you guys have you covered it today?
Well, we're covering it now with you. But that's what's so interesting, I suppose, because his decisions are international. And I imagine he finds some frustration in that, because #AmericaFirst, and you are one of the men behind his social media. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But he wants to put the needs of this country first. But it's like he can't do that until he fixes these big international issues, because he's so focused on national security. But it feels like the rest of the world are not listening to him on his logic, for instance, on Venezuela and on Greenland.
Yeah.
They're not listening to his logic and his rationale about it being about national security, but also security for the West in general. And that must be frustrating for you.
Well, I think what's funny is a lot of people they get the president wrong on this one thing, and they don't see that he's not a political monster. I mean, obviously he is. He's the best who's ever done it, but he's pragmatic, and he just wants to get things done. And it's like I said, if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do everything he can to get it done as soon as possible, ahead of time and under budget. And there are countless instances of him doing this. So for folks to he's not, I don't think, frustrated. I think we're going to get it done. We're going to knock it out. But there's a lot of things. The guy can walk and chew gum at the same time, like the best of them, and that's what he's doing here.
So opening the presser today with laminated sheets, and he showed many of them, of people that ICE, so just for the British audience, these are the Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. They are demonized in the press, as you say, all across the world. These are the bad guys. These are Trump's Star Wars figures that he's put out on the streets of America, is how they're depicted in the press. And standing there and showing the types of people who are being eliminated from this country was designed to do what in the mind of the president?
Well, I think it's designed to make the media realize that they're defending the indefensible. And this is something that, again, has come up. We talk about 1 year in office. This has come up multiple times. There was an instance earlier in the year in which we posted a meme of a hefty fentanyl dealer. There's this woman who was giving fentanyl to children. And CNN and some of the legacy media outlets were outraged that we would make fun of this woman. How dare you protect this fentanyl dealer? Why are you doing this? This is disgusting. What they don't see is that most of the country sees a fentanyl dealer and goes, oh yeah, no, we can't have that. They've got to go to jail. And so again, he's boxed them in. They still haven't figured it out. Again, 10 years of this playing the same game. The left is being forced to defend the absolutely abhorrent, indefensible actions of some of the worst people in our country at the moment, and this is their platform. So when you talk about what you for, what you are against, they are saying outright right here today that they are for defending these pedophiles and these murderers and these terrorists in our country because the president is for getting rid of them. I mean, we call it Trump derangement syndrome for a reason, and it's rampant in our country.
Yeah.
Your personal data could be exposed right now without you even knowing it. And if you want it removed, use incogni.com/GB News in the description now and get 60% off an annual plan on us. Incogni reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information be deleted from their databases. And they'll keep sending removal requests to make sure your data stays gone. Sometimes your information ends up on strange, obscure websites that automated tools just can't reach. And that's why Incogni just launched their unlimited plan with a feature called custom removals. With this, you can submit any link where your personal information appears, literally paste in the URL, and their privacy team will investigate and work to get it removed. And getting started is super easy. Hit the link in the description, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. Grant them permission to work on your behalf, and then all you've got to do is sit back and relax. They'll keep you updated along the way. Incogni is totally risk-free for 30 days. If you try it, it's not for you, you'll get a full refund. So take back control of your personal data today with Incogni. Use our code GBNews at checkout via the link in the description, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan.
Let's talk about some of the positives then that the president did go through today. Border security, tick. Inflation, tick. Growth, tick. I mean, there is a huge amount that you've done. And in fact, you were one of the first people that I met, Kaylin, when you came to DC. And that was in the summer last year. And you and I joked about, you said, well, we've done so much in 6 months. I'm not sure what we're going to spend the next 3.5 years doing. When you look back now at the end of a year, have you found some things to do?
I think we found a few things to do. I think the Greenland thing is very important, and that's something we've, not necessarily went crazy on the campaign trail on, but we've certainly talked about it, the Venezuela action. But what I want to direct your attention to is, there are a lot of things we did that no one even talks about anymore because we did them so quickly, so effectively. Like, the southern border is closed. Yeah. Like, illegal immigrants aren't like entering our country the way that they were. I think what we get a little lost in the sauce on is tracking the online discourse, and people always want us to do more. And it's because they recognize that we're at truly an inflection point in our nation's history. We have someone in office who's going to do what they said they're going to do, and he's going to not really care about, not the consequences, but the PR of doing it, because we're doing the right thing. And I think people ultimately in their heart of hearts, they get that, they know that, and that's why, majority of people that were with the president in 2020 and 2024, they're going to stay with him through this. We're very excited about the next few years. And
kind of having to sum up in a way what he's doing, sort of ideologically, I was watching Scott Besson interviewed in Davos today, and the host said to him, we don't come to Davos, do we, and we instantly turn into globalists. And Scott Besson just said, the air is very nice here. And in other words, he's a reluctant visitor. Like, how much of the Trump team are going to be reluctant visitors in Davos because of the globalists and what they represent there?
You know, here's how I would phrase it. I wouldn't necessarily view their trip to Davos as a trip to kind of accept the status quo of the norm. We're going to go there and tout all the economic growth and all the wonderful things we've done in 1 year of office, but on the world stage. We're going to kind of show the world what we've been doing and why it works, and why, you know, other folks should at least be paying attention to everything that we're doing. It's the blueprint for a better, you know, America. And who's to say it can't be used elsewhere?
Yeah, are we going to see a little bit of the same sort of tone of the speech, do you think, tomorrow that we got at the UN General Assembly in October in New York, where President Trump basically dropped some massive truth bombs on everybody in the room and said, "You are ruining your countries"? Do you think it's going to be tonally similar?
I think that the president is consistently in that tone. He hasn't changed. Again, the World Economic Forum was like, what, in the first week of our first year here, and he was pretty scathing with them then as well. So I wouldn't necessarily expect that, but I would definitely expect, you know, him to go out there and speak extensively on kind of the economic growth and all the things that we're doing that these other world leaders seem to have issues with how the president conducts business. You know, we got the results to back it up.
Is he feeling isolated? Because people accuse him, don't they, of being isolationist, as opposed to, they see it as a negative as opposed to a positive, putting the needs of his country first. But do you think he's starting to feel increasingly isolated on the global stage?
No, I mean, look, this is a man who is willing to talk to anybody. You know, he brought in the mayor of New York, the new mayor of New York, who is a rabid communist, to the Oval Office, and they had a cordial conversation. I think if anything in the world could be farther from the truth, it is calling the president shy or isolationist, if only because, you know, the guy is willing to pick up the phone and talk to anybody.
You are one of the men behind the memes. And I'll often be flicking through the White House social media, and I see something and I think, that's got Caelan Doyle written all over it, the mischief of that. You've been responsible for some of like the Jet2 holiday memes.
I heard that made some waves back home. Huh?
That made a lot of waves in the UK. When you guys sit down to come up with some of that stuff, are you courting the controversy? Or do you just have a sense of humour and you don't necessarily anticipate how controversial they're going to be?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is having a sense of humor. I like to say, you know, we're not the smartest in the world, but we have probably the best taste in the country. I get a call from my mom who goes, "I know you're helping run this because this is exactly what you DM me on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever." And I have to say, "Mom, America loves it, so, you know, we maybe calm down." But I honestly, we're not courting controversy. The key, the ethos behind it is that we want to communicate with people in the language that they speak with one another. So a good example is I've got a group of friends who I have no idea what's going on in their lives, but we've sent memes to each other 5, 6, 7 times a day, every day, for 10 years. I have no idea what's going on with them, but that's how we communicate. And so, you know, we like to arm people with information and with talking points and with, you know, talkative, just funny stuff, like entertaining things, because we're making things that we want to see. And I think that's important. For far too long, government has been you know, very, very static and very there's no taste to the content whatsoever.
Yeah.
We're trying to change things up.
And oddly earnest. You look back now at the Biden administration and realise how serious and how earnest they were. And actually, the world can be a very difficult place to be. And sometimes you need your government to also have a little bit of a sense of humour. I'm thinking particularly of the Walk of Fame at the White House.
Oh, that's all the boss. And that's what's so funny about it, is that we take all of our cues from him. If he's going hard on an issue, we're going equally as hard in that direction.
So the auto pen portrait of Biden on the wall, the Walk of Fame, whose idea was that?
I can't take credit for that one. I think the president deserves the credit for the incredible work that they've done renovating the Rose Garden, putting that up. I mean, it's truly incredible. It's great.
It is incredible.
And the thing is, none of it's not true. It's all totally true, which is kind of sad.
And so, as you look towards the next 12 months, Caelan, and the next 3 years, really, if you could be here at the end of the presidency, what would a successful presidency look like for Trump?
Yeah, I think we've done a great job so far of getting inflation under control, reducing the Democrats' crazy price hikes here in the country. We've done a great job, obviously, sealing the border. I'd like to see us finish what we started on the deportation issue and just continue to, put America first. What the greatest lie that anyone's ever told is that this is a difficult thing. That coming through and just doing simply what you campaigned on is some insurmountable challenge. And the president has proven them wrong time after time after time. And I think he's going to continue to do that for the next 4 years. This country is going to be the hottest country in the world right now. No idea this is how crazy hot we're going to be in 4 years.
And the relationship between the UK and the US, because I know our audience at home will be worried about that. It does seem like it's on shaky ground at the moment. Do you have cause for optimism there?
I'd say we always have cause for optimism for those who are willing to be pragmatic and to put their people first.
Yeah.
So I think the president's done a good job of keeping an open mind and making phone calls and handling business as he needs to be, and hopefully that continues.